And we are rolling. This is Coffee with the Coaches. It is a podcast about entrepreneurship, business, mindset, life in general. My name is Christopher Holmquist. I am joined by Peter Valancourt, and we are two entrepreneur dudes just hanging out talking about stuff. Right?
That's us.
Yeah, that's us. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
All right. I am doing great. So episode 6, we've been talking about a bunch of stuff, and today we're going to talk about something that we have labeled the goalpost problem, right? And here's the core concept of what we're going to talk about. Many ambitious people aren't unhappy because they're failing. They're unhappy because they've become so focused on what's next, and they've forgotten to appreciate what they've already built.
Yeah, life becomes all about that big goal, and when people finally achieve it, there's a letdown.
It's almost deflating.
Right.
All right. So have you ever noticed that the thing that you desperately wanted 6 months ago, right, is now completely unimpressive?
Yes. Is that typical entrepreneurial trap is to fall into that, hit a goal and then become disappointed or let down or deflated by, now we've got to create a new problem to go after.
Right. You finally get the thing, right? You get the deal closed. You become a millionaire. You hit a business milestone. You lose the weight. You buy the thing that you always wanted to buy. And somehow your brain immediately asks, okay, like, what's next?
Right.
Where are we going?
Right.
And that's, and this is where you kind of like come across this thing where you feel like success, at least initially, I felt like success would feel different. Like, did you ever run into that? Like, you kind of like were going along and you wanted all these things and you're ambitious and you're entrepreneurial and you're going, and then like you succeed and then you're like,
yeah, there could be a bit of a sort of letdown that the chase is over.
Right.
But we're going to talk about today, like how to defeat that mindset, how to sort of build and it's about systems and growth and sort of
balance.
Yes.
A little bit of balance. I mean, if that something like
Yeah.
that is possible. All right, so let's quickly recap. We said this is episode 6, the goalpost problem, right? This whole concept of we're constantly moving the goalpost once we get there. So recapping the last few episodes, we have talked about clarity. We've talked about misalignment. We've talked about accountability. And we've talked about why anxious people can't relax. And apparently that's a real condition.
Yes.
And that led us here.
Yeah.
Right? To this whole thing of like once you start building an intentional life, you eventually have to ask yourself, am I enjoying any of this?
Right.
And if the answer is no, then again, that's what we're going to talk about today. If the answer is no, you've built this intentional life and you say, am I able to enjoy any of this? And the answer is I don't know or no.
Right, and what happens when or if that intentional life that we designed, we intentionally brought ourselves to it, isn't really what brings us happiness? And when we find that out, what is that reaction all about? And,
Whoa.
Right, and how do we turn from that point?
Yeah. You just blew my mind because I was sitting outside this morning and I was thinking about this episode, and the one phrase that kept on coming to my mind is, if I only, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then,
yeah, right.
If I only,
Yeah.
then, but you never get there.
No, I know, and it's a trick our brain can play on us that, just to sort of keep us away from that pain or that struggle of wondering or, questioning. And when it's really not about that, you can't quantify that that inner peace with, bank account number or a number of transactions or
Right.
business size and all
Yeah.
that. And that's a lesson that comes with time and age and experience.
Yeah, we're going to touch on all of that as we dive into it. We're going to dissect it a little bit, bit by bit. What does this really mean? How do we counteract it? Of course, trying to leave you with some, actionable, things, right? So that you can feel like you got something out of this podcast other than two dudes just sitting here talking at you. We're going to give you some tools, hopefully, and some questions to ponder, right? And hopefully get you out of this. But let's take a moment and see what the Stoics have to say about this topic, because I always like to bring in our friends, the Stoics. And today's quote is by Epictetus, probably my second favorite Stoic after Marcus Aurelius. Epictetus says this: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Let that marinate. Yeah, because I don't think that we as entrepreneurs have a possession problem, right?
Right. It's often not about the possessions. Those are kind of a symptom of what's actually going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we don't have a possession problem, right, we're left with the fact that we have a wanting problem. And I guess that's what it's kind of saying here. You know what I mean? It's like, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. I don't know. This is kind of like contradictory for me. You know what I mean? Like this one's hard for me because, yeah, I understand it. But as much as I try, and as much as I try to put on that whole, like, I don't have a lot of wants. You know, all I want is to be healthy and for, you know, whatever and stuff like that. I'm essentially lying to myself because I have a lot of wants. I struggle with it. I don't know. Do you have a lot of wants?
Yeah, I do. You know, my biggest want is a quiet mind. That's what I want.
And that's why you keep on doing more and more things and adding more and more businesses and adding more and more commitments to your life so you can have a quiet mind.
It is an elusive goal for me.
Okay. All right. Different ways to skin a cat, apparently.
I guess. I guess.
You're burying yourself in the chaos.
Why do you hate cats?
I don't know. I know, I do have a lot of like anti-cat sayings, right? Like you can't swing a dead cat without hitting something, right? So here it is. I mean, you know, dissecting this Stoic moment a little bit, the problem isn't wanting more. The problem is when wanting more becomes the only thing we know how to do.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place, and it's a very difficult life to lead when you're in that constant state of want.
Right, exactly. And you just said it, the constant state of one, which precludes there from being anybody else, right? So who suffers?
Yeah, you're just, well, everybody around you, actually. Yeah. Anybody who wants to be a part of your world is on the outside.
Is on the outside.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another area you want to explore then, you know what I mean? If this is resonating with you and you're sitting there going like, oh yeah, I get that. Then just know that there is somebody probably else that is suffering that's in your, you know, in your sphere because, you know, one can't exist without the other.
Our goal to lighten this up has also proven elusive.
I know. So, I mean, should we tell jokes periodically just
if
to
you've
like...
pulled over to weep, we'll give you a minute.
That's right.
Let's go to one of our sponsors. Oh, shoot, we don't have it.
Nursing home. Anyway, all right, so what are we talking about? Ambition versus contentment, growth versus gratitude, achievement versus peace, right? Healthy ambition versus endless striving. Those are labeled here as almost, you know, that they contradict each other, or, you know, that they contradict each other, and I don't think that they have to. Right?
Right. Well, they shouldn't, because, again, we talked earlier about a balance, and not so much always balance in your...
Like not 50-50.
Right. But there should be some counterweight to ambition, which should be contentment in a perfect world, and should be some counterweight to growth, which is that gratitude, that stop and say, wow, you know, I've really come a long way, and, you know, that life by design is starting to take hold, and I can see it and feel it.
Well, can we talk about that for a second? Because... like, again, me falling into that trap, I'm reading those and saying, I either have to be ambitious all the time or I have to be content all the time.
Right.
And that's just my all or nothing thinking. But I have to keep on realizing, like you said, I mean, I can find moments of contentment within the ambition, right? Where we can just slow down and be like, holy shit, I just really, you know, achieved something, you know, great. I'm going to sit here with that. I'm going to keep all my other, you know, balls in the air.
Yep.
Right? And keep those moving along. But yeah, I can take 5 minutes and sit there and go, like, this feels good. I can celebrate it with somebody around me, somebody that, you know, think about the times when we've been able to share these victories with, you know, our significant others or whatever else, right? I mean, it's like, That's awesome.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, thinking about it for 5 minutes, congratulating ourselves with 2 slaps on the back and then moving on to the next thing.
Right. Well, I think we're more apt to slap somebody else on the back, say, great job, celebrate the win. But it's so important. I know you talk with your team quite a bit about celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
We do that here as well. Why? Why is it important to celebrate the wins? Because it, tying that hard work to achievement, that introduces that counterbalance that we were talking about. That sometimes
it's also an investment in the future. I mean, because without that as the restorative juice, I mean, especially when it comes to your team, right? I mean, because I think we already have that built in, unfortunately and fortunately. But other people do need that external validation, that, that attaboy, that, just those 5 minutes of recognition.
Right.
And stop moving the goalpost, right? I mean, that's the other thing that people, if we're taking this and talking about a team environment, it's very difficult for a team to work if you're continually moving the goalpost on them. You know what I mean? Just because that's
absolutely.
the way that your brain thinks. You know what I mean? It's like, if you say you've got to get to 10 deals this month and they get to 10 deals and you're like, oh God, you could have gotten to 12. You know what I mean? Like, and how many times have you said that or thought it at least?
Yeah, well, gosh, I think we tend to do it with ourselves, probably. And other people see that, and it becomes really kind of incongruous. It's like, well, what is this? What's got to make this person happy? Like if they,
right,
they achieve their goal, but they're still not happy.
Exactly.
So what am I doing here? Why am I part of this?
Yeah. So we're identifying, things to correct along the way as we're discussing this, right? We're saying, don't look for the all or nothing, be okay with celebrating the small wins by slowing down for 5 minutes, by just acknowledging a small part of your business, a small part of the day. I mean, celebrate crushing the day. If you knocked it out of the park and got 3 appointments, I mean, that's worth celebrating. Go out, do whatever makes you happy. I mean,
Or even if you crush the day by not doing anything work-related and focused on some self-growth or family time or the thing that tends to fall off your calendar because the work priority takes over, that's worth celebrating too. And that, boy, does that feel uncomfortable. You're like, wow, I spent the day at the beach. Good for me.
Yeah.
How weird does that sound? But it's important to realize that fills your cup.
And again, I think that comes with age, right? I mean, that's where I think I am, and I think that you are. Maybe that we can celebrate those non-business or whatever wins as well. I mean, at least I think I can a little bit, and be like, I really enjoyed spending the day with my family, or doing just self-care, going golfing with my buddies or whatever it was. So.
Told some great disparaging cat jokes.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it makes your day. Don't make fun of me about cats.
Did you ever see the
cats.
Steve Martin movie where he's a surgeon?
Oh my!
And every time that he's doing an operation, get that cat out of here. He's like a brain surgeon.
No. All right, we'll watch that later.
We'll save that for our cat podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're on to just this whole concept of moving the goalpost, right? We've already talked about this. You hit a goal, you move the goalpost. Hit another goal, whether it's a business goal, a personal goal, a fitness goal, you name it. We keep moving the goalpost. I'll be happy when, and the sentence never ends, right? I mean, that's just the hallmark of who we are. And these examples that I'm going to give are just ones that we've already given, right? And it can be business milestones, subscriber counts, revenue targets, home ownership, fitness goals, relationships. And so, we need to realize that we're succeeding, but we're just really bad at recognizing it, right?
Absolutely.
So, all right, so let's move on to the next segment, which is really talking about the achievement hangovers, right? And this is where it seems that every single achievement has this diminishing effect, right? Like the first time, it's like, wow, it feels so amazingly good, right? And then the second time, it feels good, and then the third time, it's like, all right, I've been here before.
Yeah. I think we can see this played out very evidently in golf. See, guys, when you look at Tiger, he's the easiest example to think of.
Yeah.
What drove him to win so many tournaments when you see other guys come in, win once, and it's like the high point of their life, and then maybe you don't see them crack the top 10 ever again.
Yeah.
Which is much more the norm.
Yeah.
Because they've kind of hit that goal and whatever, for some reason that drive goes away to get back to the top when there's that small, like less than 1% of people that being number one all the time is what matters. And it's a really amazing thing, but for many people, they achieve that goal and take the foot off the gas.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. And not only that, I would argue that most people take their foot off the gas as soon as they start approaching the goal.
Yeah. The fear of success.
The fear of success, and then they just literally want to almost like, again, the golf analogy of that putt that just dribbles into the cup. I mean, they just like almost want to just like, they'd be happy if they achieved their goal on the very last day of the year, type of a mentality, right?
Right. That's why you see when those guys are so locked in and they're hitting these 3-foot putts, they're rifling those 3-foot putts in.
Yeah.
Because they're locked in.
But Tiger's the anomaly, right? I mean, so let's
sure.
talk about him for a second because it is an interesting case study. You want to talk about the ultimate in moving goalposts, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But with an intentionality that was unmatched with a... I don't know. Most of us serial entrepreneurs, we're ambitious people. I mean, we're constantly moving the goalposts, but it's almost like at a frenetic pace, and we're just kind of less like in constant motion. I feel like Tiger's life was laid out from day one almost, and these, moving of the goalposts was almost like built in. His dad and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Every competitive athlete says it when they step on the field or the court or whatever. They're there to win, but Tiger meant it every time he laced them up and went out there and, didn't want to just win. He wanted to, go scorched earth and just no matter what, win at all costs.
Right, but how does he then, how does he avoid the achievement hangover? How does he avoid, what was it in him? Was it just, genetics that he was able to, keep being as passionate about win number 82 as
whatever the next one is. Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't called me back. I told him we were going to
we almost had him as a guest on the podcast,
but Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, what pushes these guys to and quite honestly,
but with Tiger, I mean, at what cost too, right? I mean, look at his personal life and how many cars has he wrecked?
I know.
And almost killed himself and killed other people and whatever else. So, I think that there's a middle ground, right? I mean, between the just rolling it in with one last rotation and, that constant strive to be the best of the best of the best.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that for us mere mortals, one way to look at this is, how do we reinvent this is not moving the goalpost. It's just how do we reinvent what it is that that's going to get us excited, each time, right? So it says here, like your first commission, right? We all remember that first commission check that we got, right? You're never going to be able to duplicate that.
Right.
So what was it about the second one that was now it was like, oh my God, the excitement is, if I did it once, can I do it again? Right. That was the, the driving force.
Right.
And then it was about, can I become consistent? So I think that we all, no matter what, there's kind of that built-in way to keep moving the goalposts in a healthy way as well.
Agreed. And one of the sayings I've always held close to my heart is the money is good for the good it can do. And it kind of takes the focus off the next closing and more of the what is all this hard work going to provide for me and my family and not so much on the outside but also on the inside.
Yeah.
Can I help people through this? Can I put kids through college? Can I all of those really important things? That's what if we can tie those closings and those accomplishments to those sort of bigger sort of life achievement goals, it creates a little bit more longevity in our ability to go out and chase it.
That's a great point because, I think you can be chasing things for all the wrong reasons and you can be chasing them for the right reasons. And that matters a lot because I feel like one can be very inclusive of the people around you. And again, I'm going to keep harping on the people around you because at the end of the day, if you're sick or dying or whatever else, like it's all about who's around you and not about how many dollars you have in the bank or, how many deals you closed or whatever else. So, yeah. Yeah. What you tell
Are you happy with yourself? Why did you bring up the sick and dying?
No, that was a happy.
No,
that's a happy.
You're
You got to understand,
right.
I'm Scandinavian. I always bring up, sick and dying. I mean, because we're just realists. I mean, we're all going to die, right? I mean, so,
no, but you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it boils down to. And that sick and dying is just kind of a placeholder for when you need the people in your life.
Correct. Yeah.
Will you have the meaningful relationships for them to show up?
Thank you for softening things for the audience.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah. My Scandinavian coming through again. So, I mean, I think that's how we, avoid the achievement hangover. I think it's a really good, habit to get into, right? So next we have ambition versus contentment, right? We, people hear a conversation like the one that we're having and they assume that we're saying that ambition is bad, right?
Right, which is not the message. It's ambition is great, and just going back to the Tiger, Tom Brady, or insert superstar here.
Yeah.
That work ethic, that ambition, is really what separates that top tier performer. I mean, we're about to experience this unique time in human history where we're going to have the first trillionaire in Elon Musk.
Right.
Now, Elon Musk is a polarizing figure because of political reasons, but if you can separate all that, however you feel about him, into what he's accomplished with his businesses, it's mind-boggling. Trillionaire. Think of $1 trillion.
Yeah.
It's almost, your brain can't even fathom it. It's just a word, but when you put it down on paper and realize the net worth that he's created and the contributions to the economy.
Right. But then I will go to the notes, and it says right here in my notes, the question is, can you enjoy where you are while pursuing where you're going?
Right.
And not only enjoy where you are, but, not leave, a bloody mess in your wake, when you go. And I'm not saying that he did, you know what I mean? But I'm just thinking like he doesn't seem to me to be like the happiest of dudes, right?
Oh, gosh, I totally agree. And who knows? It just doesn't come across that way, but...
Right. So, gratitude without complacency, is that possible? I think so. I don't think gratitude equals complacency. Do you?
No. Gosh, I hope not.
No. I mean, I think it's the complete opposite. Right?
It is.
I mean,
it is. 'Cause I think if you were to really define complacency, gratitude would have no part of it. So it's...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's just, it's really just kind of, pointing out blind ambition, right? I mean, blind ambition is bad. We all know that. And we're not, trying to tell people that they don't understand something like just blind ambition is bad. But the fact that, we sometimes just hear certain words and assign values to them, right? And then we're just trying to point that out and make sure that we don't fall into those traps because, you can have gratitude and not have it be complacency. It's just, it's a great thing to have. You can have growth without obsession, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Obsession is, we tend to think of obsession as part of that uber successful personality profile, but it's probably parts of that, but not fully, obsession.
No. Enjoying the process and then appreciating the current reality. I mean, those are two that, again, have come with age and, just becoming more mature and probably more secure or not secure in my life. I don't really know, but all I know is that the older I got, the more I was able to sit back and enjoy the process for just the process and not be chasing that end goal, or at least have my mind on 15 other things while I was just kind of like by rote going through what I knew needed to be done, in order to achieve that goal, while I was already thinking about the next 3 ahead.
I think that early part of anybody's business development or life development is really hard. It's hard because you're growing into this role of a provider, maybe, or part of a family, and if you're raising children and you have financial pressures, especially now. My gosh.
Yeah.
And then that need to perform with all of those other things swirling around in your brain, how to prioritize each thing, and then when you get older and you get a little bit of time under your belt where you can look back and really be able to do that process so much better with not as much urgency, you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it.
Is it possible to get that at an earlier point, or is it strictly something that you have to grow into? Do you think?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Probably because you and I both probably knew people that seemingly were just killing it out there, doing great things and raising wonderful families, and never seemed to have anything sidetrack them. So I imagine that exists, but who really knows?
If anything, perhaps, the kids who are our children's age, might have a shot at it because they seem to be a lot more intentional about their lives at a very, very early age, almost too intentional about their lives, if you ask me. But, where they're just like, hey, I'm going to live a certain way. I'm going to enjoy kind of my life. I'd love to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like, we worked our asses off. If we had time to go to the gym, you went to the gym. There was just not that intentionality.
I'm not even going to say I did that. We had a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I didn't go, yeah. We went to the bar, we always had time for that. Oh, man.
But it's true. That's so true. It's just
true.
Such a different generation.
Right. Yeah. All right, so here we go to the relatable, funny section of the show. This is where...
It's funny because we're telling you it is.
Yeah. Right. This is where our producer, ChatGPT, said, you guys got to pick it up, the energy a little bit. And so make something relatable and funny, right? And so let's talk about the dumbest goals that we've chased.
All right. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. The dumbest goal that I've chased. I mean, I think it was just, I think it's literally that sentence. If only I, you know what I mean? And then ... I mean, that was the dumbest goal that I always chased because it was the false prophet. You know what I mean? It was the drunk monkey on your shoulder. It was just all the wrong things, and, so that was my dumbest goal. What about you?
I wanted to change my name to the Fonz in the second grade. And I don't
after you saw the shark jumping episode.
Right. I don't mean I wanted my friends to call me the Fonz. I wanted to go to court and legally change it.
I think that's...
And then I peaked, and it's been a downhill slog ever since.
There. That's a dumb goal.
It sucked.
Yeah, well...
Goal sucked.
I don't know. It says here, I think entrepreneurs are professional future trippers. And I agree. Like, I have a really hard time living in the present.
Yeah, people get bored with the present, and building that cool future idea that hasn't been attained yet is a lot more entertaining. It's a lot more stimulating.
Yep. Yeah, I will say, and again, I'm dragging this down again, but I mean, I grew up kind of like in this world of escapism, right? And just, not wanting to escape my current reality. And so what do you think of? You don't think about, your past when you're, 8-10 years old, right? I mean, you're trying to think of what's a cool future that I would have.
Yeah.
Or I could be in or whatever. I mean, so, it's just wherever... So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on just like being in the here and now.
Be in the moment.
Yeah, be in the moment.
It's the only thing you really have if you think about it. Everything else is kind of a fiction.
Yeah. That's the deep like Buddha show that we should have on that because I have thought about that a lot, and that is worth exploring, I think, a little bit more. That whole concept of, everything that happened in the past is kind of immaterial, and anything in the future obviously hasn't happened yet. So, why can't we just focus on this moment in time? What is so hard about that?
It's incredibly difficult, and if you want to tie it back to those guys we were talking about before, you think about Michael Jordan.
Yep.
If he went 0 for 32 and had to hit that 33rd shot to win the game,
yep.
Who wanted the ball more than anybody else on the floor?
Absolutely. Yep. He was in the moment.
Michael Jordan actually had 13 cats. Did you know that?
No wonder I hated him. I'm a Boston fan, dude. Where did you grow up? Anyway, so practical takeaways. This is where we give you some tools. Let's leave people with 3 questions. Questions number 1. What would have amazed you 5 years ago about your life today?
That's a great one.
And celebrate that. Sit in it, celebrate it, talk to friends about it. Question number 2. What win have you failed to celebrate? I bet if you think about it, there's probably a ton of them. And then question number 3, what goal are you currently chasing that may not actually matter?
I love that question. I love that question, and I love the question of looking at your calendar. This is what my old friend Chris Hill taught me. Look at your calendar. Find 2 things on there that if you took off, nobody would care, including yourself. Damn. There has to be that on there.
Easily. Per day, almost.
Per day. Think about the time, like the value of your time. What's your time worth to you?
Yeah. A lot.
It's amazing. It's just really an amazing thought.
And speaking of time, we are out of it, and that's episode number 6, Moving the Goalpost. I think a good discussion. If you like discussions like this, join us. Go to Coffee with the Coaches TV on YouTube. Subscribe, check out our content, past episodes. Hopefully we'll be posting more and more stuff there. It's being an entrepreneur is lonely, so we're trying to build a community, just people, talking the same language. So that's it.
Awesome.
Great show.
Great job.
Talk to you, man.